So give me your name and title so we just have it on the front.
Heather Bittner-Fagan. I am a family physician and researcher at Christiana Care.
Thank you. Okay. So, couple quick questions. How does this conference help you?
This conference brings together all the different people in the room that you need in order to understand what is a really complex problem. I think that, it's a unique opportunity to have the specialists, the primary care doctors, the patients, the care providers, and all of the care team members together to say what are the important questions in caring for patients with kidney disease.
Earlier you talked about sort of the difficulties of communication amongst team members, especially when you have transition of care. Talk about that a little bit.
Sure. This is the part I hope you edit out because I'll just talk. Yeah. We had a great speaker on. Okay. What was his name? Doctor. What was the name of it?
Dr. Zawitsky.
Dr. Zawitsky?
Zawitsky.
Zaritsky. Okay. All right. So Dr. Zaritsky spoke on the difficulties of transition of care in pediatric patients with kidney disease to basically becoming adult patients with kidney disease, which in many ways is a great success that we see in a lot of conditions. As we get better at caring for these children with problems, they luckily get to live, to be adult. But unfortunately, our health system is not set up in a way to really accommodate that, to sort of receive these new adults with complex and sometimes very rare conditions. And what really engaged me about that talk was, the realization that that's really a reflection of a lot of complex care. Even the adult kidney patient is going to be going through a lot of transitions in their life. And, time and time again, when we talk to the patients, we hear that what they really want is better coordination, better communication, better education, so that they're both better prepared and better supported for all of those transitions. And you could change the term kidney and put in a lot of rare diseases there. Or even if the disease itself isn't rare, sometimes you could talk about combinations of diseases occurring in a patient that nobody is 100% comfortable with. No one's seen hundreds and hundreds of patients with that particular combination. And so it illustrates how important it is for us to really understand and work as highly functioning teams, because there will be people whose needs are not easily looked up in a book. And we have to be able to have our, nephrologist friend or whoever that we can kind of pick up the phone and call and say, I don't exactly understand what to do here, how serious this is, and vice versa, to have the, those lines of communication be two-way, and to make sure that the patient understands. Because again, to come back to Dr. Zaritsky's talk, he mentioned about the neurocognitive development of pediatric kidney disease, and when these kids hit 18, they're not even neurocognitively 18. They're a little behind, the gun. And I would argue that if you look out in the population, for a lot of reasons, you find people who are not quite equipped to deal with the complexities of their own illness, be it because they have mental illness, be it because, we're just not all of us great at science, or, or frankly, maybe because sometimes the scientists, the doctors, are not that great at being the ones to teach and explain and help with the real nuts and bolts. So, yeah, I think that's all I said, right?
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That is so
Hopefully a little bit more.
That's perfect.
All
That
right.
is awesome.
Somebody's out there if they want.
Why, this is probably a little redundant, but why is patient involvement so important?
Let me think about that. It's it's a hard one to answer because in some ways it seems so obvious, right? The researchers and the doctors can sit around all day thinking about what matters to patients, but it would be super silly if we never asked them. So we can get caught up in the science and doing measurements, and even as doctors, maybe following a lab value like creatinine, or and saying, oh look, we helped the patient, this got better, or we did this study and it showed that this group did better than this group. But in the end, if the patients don't look at it, were to look back at us and say, we don't really care about that outcome. That's not meaningful to me. That's not impactful, to the average patient with this problem, then you really haven't done the work that you need to do.
How can we be better? Right.
Yeah. As I was sitting in the conference, one thing that was hitting me both here and some other arenas, again and again and again, it sounds like patients really are clamoring for more education and more understanding. And so for me, it was like a little bit of a light bulb, like we've heard it and we've kind of put it, like, yeah, we know education. But I think there's something there. I think we need to start, really understanding how big the gap is between what doctors do know and think and what researchers do know and think and what patients. So I think that this kind of work, bringing everyone to the table, is a key first step to doing better, because really the people who are going to tell us what better looks like are the patients.
Yeah, what's
Could
the?
you just something like- and let's see.
She was over it just.
Instrumental in this whole thing. Where has it brought us? Where have we, from where we started over a year ago, where has it brought us to now, the past year and a half or so?
In the past year and a half, we've really put a lot of work into identifying key questions. And when I say key questions, they're key because they are the questions that matter to the patients and the other stakeholders. And so, we've now have this refined list that we're going to take out and validate and really engage the patients and the community in helping us to prioritize that list and making sure we hit the sweet spot. And for me, sort of in the back seat watching all this happen, I mean, some themes that emerged are that they really want us to look at quality of life, and they're really interested in better education.
Cool. And this again maybe sort of asks the same thing, but I think you sort of answered this, what the most important issue to tackle is.
Oh, what do I think is the most important
Yeah.
issue to tackle for
Just in general,
patients with
CKD and patients.
I think it's quality of life.
Could you say that in a question, in a sentence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From this work, what emerges to me is the most important issue for patients is quality of life. Yes, they're hoping that science can find cures and better treatments, but all of those things need to funnel around quality of life.
Love that. Okay. That's pretty much it. That was
Are
awesome.
you sure?
That was a lot of really great stuff.
I
Yeah.
hope so.
That's huge. So.
Well, thank you.